27% of the smartest people in America have a diagnosed mood disorder. 20% have a diagnosed anxiety disorder. Both numbers are roughly double the national average. This isn't a small survey or a random internet claim. It's a real, peer-reviewed finding. And the explanation for why it might be true is stranger than you'd expect.
In 2018, researcher Ruth Karpinski and her team at Pitzer College surveyed 3,715 members of American Mensa, a society that only accepts people who score in the top 2% on IQ tests. That's roughly an IQ of 132 or higher. The survey asked members to self-report any diagnosed psychological or physiological conditions. The results: 26.7% had been diagnosed with a mood disorder, depression, dysthymia, or bipolar disorder. 20% had a diagnosed anxiety disorder. For context, the general population sits at around 10% for each. That's not a small gap. That's roughly double.
So why would being smarter correlate with more anxiety, not less? The leading theory has a name: overexcitability. It's the idea that some people experience and react to the world with unusual intensity, not just intellectually, but physically, emotionally, and sensorially too. Researchers describe 5 domains where this shows up: psychomotor, sensory, intellectual, imaginational, and emotional. The theory, sometimes called hyperbrain hyperbody, suggests the same neural wiring that lets someone process information faster and make unusual connections also makes them more prone to overthinking, ruminating, and reacting more intensely to stress. In other words, the same trait that makes you good at solving problems might also make you worse at letting them go. There's a second theory, and it doesn't require any special brain wiring at all, just circumstance. High IQ individuals are statistically more likely to experience social isolation. Fewer people share their specific interests or thinking style. Conversations can feel mismatched. And that isolation on its own is a well-documented driver of anxiety and depression, independent of intelligence itself. This theory doesn't compete with the first one. Both could easily be true at the same time, for different people. Here's where the story gets more complicated and more honest. In 2022, a team tried to replicate Karpinski's findings with 615 Mensa members across 5 European countries. They did find elevated depression and anxiety rates, but several other parts of the original study, including the physical health findings like allergies and asthma, didn't hold up. Then in 2023, a much bigger study using the UK Biobank, a dataset covering hundreds of thousands of people, not just Mensa members, found something completely different. High IQ individuals were not at greater risk for most psychiatric conditions. And for generalized anxiety and PTSD specifically, high intelligence actually looked protective, meaning smarter people in this dataset were less likely to develop these conditions, not more. So depending on which study you read, high IQ either doubles your anxiety risk or lowers it. Both are real peer-reviewed findings. This isn't one study being wrong. It comes down to who was studied. Mensa members are self-selected. They sought out an organization built entirely around intelligence, which may attract a specific kind of person to begin with. The UK Biobank pulls from a broad, general population with no self-selection around IQ at all. Different sample, different result. It's a useful reminder that a single study, even a real one, is a snapshot of a specific group, not a universal law. This tension isn't new. It's part of why the tortured genius idea has stuck around for centuries. Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, Charles Dickens, and Leo Tolstoy are all commonly cited examples of brilliant minds who also documented struggles with what we'd now recognize as depression or anxiety. To be clear, this is anecdote, not evidence. 4 famous names prove nothing on their own. But it's part of why this idea has had such staying power long before any formal study tried to test it. So, is high intelligence a mental health risk or a protective factor? The honest answer is, it depends which study you trust, and possibly which kind of smart you're talking about. The tortured genius idea is more myth than settled science, but based on what we've just gone through, it's not nothing either. So here's the real question worth sitting with. If two well-designed studies can disagree this much on the same question, how much should we actually trust the next headline that says science proves anything?